So there's tensions in Qatar because the Qataris have too close ties to Iran. So our boy Rex ExxonMobil Tillerson had to fly over there between the G20 summit that Trump was completely isolated from, and then accepting an award from the World Oil Congress for being outstanding rich oil dick, or whatever the award is, the exploit the poor award and dirty the earth or something like that. So between hopping around, seeing America lose its standing in the world at the G20 summit. Basically, it was the G19 summit with Trump sitting on the end, and then he had his daughter come in. It's good. Be ready for like an Ivanka v. Chelsea election somewhere down the road. So what's going on is Rex Tillerson flew and he's trying to, right, so the U.S. there's a group of Saudis that aren't happy with what Qatar is doing, and the United States, this is going to sound like a shocker, we're siding with the Saudis. Who saw that coming? And Qatar is getting too close to Iran. So what then America does, and in the American press, is, I'm reading this in the LA Times, the mainstream corporate media, then, the big terrorism, just immediately, terrorism. What we know is this is, as we've discussed before, this is about the petrodollar and the pipelines, right? So Iran and Syria and Russia want a pipeline, and the Saudis and us and was Qatar, we want our pipeline through Syria. That's why we got to do regime change. So Qatar is now going, wait a minute, maybe who knows what the backdoor deal is, the backroom deal is like they've made with Iran. It has nothing to do with fucking terrorism. This has nothing to do with terrorism. And because the Trump White House keeps sending mixed messages, they're wondering, well, this is this is a potential of, as you saw coming out of the G20 summit, that like the rest of the world is like, no one's looking to America for leadership anymore. They're just like, oh, you have Trump as your president. He's a buffoon and a jackass and he's crazy. So now it's just going to be up for grabs. And who knows what kind of deals Russia and Iran and everyone else is making with anybody else like Qatar. So what's interesting is Qatar has the largest United States military base with 11,000 people. We also have a lot of people in Kuwait, a place I've been to. But so now Kuwait's involved. Now, the Kuwaitis pay us $500 million a year to have our military there to protect their oil as a result of the first Gulf War in 91, when basically what the Kuwaitis were doing was slant drilling. So they were like, if this was the Iraq border right here, let's say this is the Iraq border, and this is Kuwait, and this is Iraq, the Kuwaitis were drilling like this and taking Iraq's oil. Iraq didn't like that, of course. Saddam did what he did, and then we had to come in and, that was all. The first Gulf War was all about us just trying to get more access to Iraq's oil. That's all that was. Saddam Hussein, who we backed in the Iraq-Iran war in the 80s. There's photos of Don Rumsfeld, there meeting with Saddam. It's such a joke, the Middle East. Here's what the Kuwait's Emir, Sheikh Shabah al-Ahmad al-Jabir al-Sabah said as he greeted Tillerson on Monday night. We are trying to solve an issue that concerns not just us, but the entire world. So what is happening is there's been a month of Washington meetings, telephone calls, and angry ultimatums, plus contradictory messages from the White House have failed to push the sides any closer to negotiation. The crisis is at an impasse, Tillerson acknowledged. So Qatar is locked in a bitter confrontation with a Saudi-led group of Arab states over the tiny gas-rich Emirates' ties to Iran and supposed friendliness with a number of militant groups, which we all know is bullshit. And even if they are, it's like the resistance forces in Syria that we're backing is ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So all of the countries involved are important U.S. allies, making the fight particularly tricky for the White House, which is sided with the Saudi-led coalition. So yeah, as I said, and they're trying to mediate this. God, I would love to know what's really going on behind the scenes, and what sort of deals. What is Qatar really doing? Why are they really stirring this up? Are they getting a better offer because they see America's crumbling and Trump is losing power, and is he going to get impeached? Maybe not. Is the impeach rhetoric is that come down because Trump is playing more ball? Who knows? Who knows what is going on? Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and United Arab Emirates and Egypt have suspended diplomatic ties with Qatar and blockaded it by sealing sea and land borders and banning flights from airspace. Tillerson called for lifting of the blockade, but President Trump seemed to contradict him and accused Qatar of several occasions of being a major financer of terrorism, while lavishing praise on Saudi Arabia. And he did this from his Twitter account. Colin Powell said, the Middle East is the most complicated geopolitical landscape in the history of the world. And we've got a buffoon Trump as the president and an oil guy as Secretary of State. The Saudis are threatening punitive action. Now, lucky for Qatar, they're not a poor country like Yemen. Otherwise, this shit already would have gone down. They would have already just gone in there and waxed them with our cluster bombs and whatever else. So this is at an impasse. Of course, they use Tillerson's advisor, R.C. Hammond. One inning of baseball, score 0-0. We haven't gotten anywhere. Okay, all right, yeah, you got it. You're an American. So how this could spiral into more disarray in the Middle East, the rich oil countries that are our allies that we have bases at, if they start fighting with each other, what does that mean? Well, if you're stationed in Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, I'd pay attention to what's going on, and I wouldn't have faith in Trump or Tillerson. Definitely not Trump. Tillerson, maybe, just because he's such a greedy oil dude, he might be able to be like, hey, guys, let's all remember it's all about the money. So we'll keep monitoring this. But this is the... and you've got Saudi Arabia in there, who's made a list of 13 demands for Qatar, and they're just going to keep... Saudi Arabia, you know how they play ball. They're just, we want this done. And normally America just automatically backs them. Yeah, we're backing them, but we've got a base in Qatar. So how is America? This is what happens when you just line up with, like, the Saudis. There's actual human rights abuses going on in Saudi Arabia. So we'll see what's up. We could have, during the Bush administration, Iran tried to back channel negotiations with the Bush administration. Like, hey, there's a lot of young people. There's a Democrat. Like, don't listen to the crazy clerics. They're not really running. Listen to. We've got a young people. We want it. We want to back channel. And Bush shut them down and referred to Iran as the axis of evil, again, because of oil and the petrodollar. This will be interesting. We'll keep following it. Support the show, guys. There's a Patreon link below if you haven't done that already. Thank you for everybody that was there on Super Chat Sunday. That was cool. We had a great discussion. And if you didn't get to see it, you can watch it. And like and subscribe. That's how the show stays going.